Coming up in the news, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama weighing in on the further delay of the storm recovery and stabilization charge. Also, a local member of parliament weighing in on his parliamentary colleague's decision to cross the floor. And the guidelines for the importation of vehicles sparking concern. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Wolf-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news tonight, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama weighing in on the Grand Bahama Power Company's decision to further delay its storm recovery and stabilization charge. The announcement yesterday was no doubt good news for residents who continue to agitate for lower electricity rates. Italia Hall has more from the minister. The Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says he is pleased that the Grand Bahama Power Company has made the decision to delay the storm recovery and stabilization charge. The minister adding that the company has done a good job of rebuilding infrastructure on Grand Bahama after Hurricane Dorian.
And I think the entire island would acknowledge that. However, after having dealt with the first wave of COVID, they were asked to delay it, which they did. We have just gone through a second wave of COVID, and we sent a letter to the Grand Bahama Port Authority indicating that once we canvassed the members of parliament and we saw what was happening on the ground, that now would not be the best time to implement this additional fee.
He says he is also pleased that the Grand Bahama Port Authority agreed with the government and that the power company accepted their position.
We acknowledge and thankful that the power company has heard the cry of the community, that they have also heard the views of the government, and that is all of the members of parliament, I believed and expressed their view. Our office expressed our view that this should not be implemented at this time and that it should be delayed. And so we're thankful that they have proceeded along that manner.
Now this move comes following protests by several organizations on Grand Bahama who were calling for the charge to not be implemented. Now Thompson says the government fully understands how Grand Bahamians felt.
Accepted what the public was saying, that now would not have been the best time to do so. And so we're pleased that and we were able to express this view to the power company and express this view to the Port Authority, that we think it should be delayed. And so we are thankful that they have accepted that view.
Now the storm recovery and stabilization charge will be delayed until January 1st, 2021. It's Italia Hall, ZNS Network News. Well, the Bahamas Brewery was just one of the many businesses on Grand Bahama impacted by Hurricane Dorian. But tonight, there is some good news as the brewery that received some 4 feet of water is fully restored. On Friday morning, the owner, along with the Minister of State for Grand Bahama and the President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, toured that facility. Here again is Italia Hall. The Bahamas Brewery is now back in operation. After receiving significant damage during Hurricane Dorian, the facility was closed for months. While owner James Sands says, although he faced some challenges over the past year in repairing the facility, he was determined to get it up and running.
COVID came in and then it set us back even further. But so it's very nice to be here today to announce to you all, to everybody, to the community, shareholders, and also the community of Freeport, that this place will commence producing bottling beer on Monday.
The business owner says the repairs cost millions of dollars.
When this destruction came through, I said it would be a shame to let this thing go. And we have a lot of goodwill behind us. And I felt strongly that, yes, we'll put the place back together and we'll make Sandsbury even stronger than it was before. I've always been a person not to quit.
He says he was able to retain all of his employees.
We have roughly about 140 people employed, and I was able to retain everybody. Now, naturally, some people right now are what they call furloughed, and those people will be coming back. We've been bringing back people continuously in the last 4 months. As the brewery's been being restored, we needed people to help put it back together again.
Minister of State for Grand Bahamas, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, congratulating the owner for his commitment to the island.
It actually sends a very positive message to the entire island that you can go through difficult times, you can go through Dorian, you can go through COVID, but you can also come back and come back even better. While he has maintained staff levels, I think he has about 80% of his staff that's there, and he's looking to return the rest of the staff as well. He's also increased capacity.
President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, commending Sands for keeping his staff members employed.
I think it's something that most businesses should actually take as lead, and because your employees are your greatest assets, and he knows how to take care of his employees. When I walked around this place with him, I can tell this is like a big family in this organization, and he was not shy to say that these people have made his business, and so I commend Jimmy Sands and his team for what they're doing here in Grand Bahama. It inspires us all.
It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Well, the Free National Movement, since elected as the government of the Bahamas in 2017, has seen 2 of its members resign from their caucus. Golden Isles MP Von Miller, nearly a year after severing ties with the Free National Movement, announced in the House of Assembly this week that he has decided to cross the floor and join with the Progressive Liberal Party. Tonight, Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, Frederick McAlpine, sharing his thoughts on Miller's decision to join the opposition and give some insight on what he plans to do.
Mr. Von Miller, Member of Parliament for Golden Isles, I want to wish him all the best in all of his endeavors as he's crossed over to join the Progressive Liberal Party. He is a nationalist. He believes in the Bahamas and the Bahamian people, and I wish him all the best and I wish him well. As regards to what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my instructions from the people of Pine Ridge. Many of them have been speaking to me and telling me what they think I ought to do and should do, and I wait to hear from the people of Pine Ridge.
Now, the Pine Ridge MP says there are those who would like for him to run as an independent candidate, as well as those who would like for him to join with other political groups. Now, as it relates to his decision, he says he will wait to hear from the Bahamian people and members of his constituency.
I don't think it's a time for me to just get up and to make a decision based on rumors that there might be an election coming sooner rather than later. None of that really matters to me. What really matters is that I try to stay in the will of God, and most of all, that I continue to do the best I can to represent the people of Pine Ridge while I have this opportunity to do so. And of course, to be an advocate for good governance and good representation of the people and not parties or particular organizations.
Switching gears now, the guidelines for the importation of vehicles have sparked concern among local auctioneers who are advocating for those in authority to be lenient with Bahamians with respect to the 10-year ban on vehicle importation, as many Bahamians, they say, cannot afford to purchase brand new vehicles. Romiko Knowles has more in this report.
Owner of D's Car Rental, Darren Cooper, expressing his frustration relating to the enforcement of the law, which states that vehicles over 10 years old will not be allowed in the country without special permission granted by the Ministry of Finance.
We understand from 2015 that this would have been something that was implemented, and the then minister would have made provisions in the law for the Minister of Finance to grant such approval. Grand Bahama continues to struggle. It continues to go through its challenging times, and people cannot afford to buy cars off of a brand new lot. And so the question that I would ask them, and there's the two questions. One, who is pressuring for the enforcement of such law, that you won't grant such approvals? And what is going on with the $250 environmental charge that we pay on the import of every car as an auction license?
One of the reasons stated for this ban is to avoid the influx of derelict vehicles on the road. To that, Cooper says Bahamians are paying for it.
When you make the assumption or make it appear as if we are just bringing in cars that last for a year, we pay for those cars to be disposed of. Is the government assisting the Grand Bahama Port Authority in the disposal of those cars? What is being done with the $250 that is being charged for those cars?
Cooper says, to his knowledge, in order to receive permission to import vehicles over the 10-year limit, auctioneer license holders must purchase the vehicle and then apply to the Ministry of Finance for approval. He says the system is flawed, and it is an issue that they have raised with the Ministry of Finance a long time ago.
And so one of the things we wanted to be able to do was to get the minister now to understand the importance of us applying and then buying, so that we would have the comfort to know that we have the approval letter. And so some persons that are in this predicament would have already applied, got approval, but because the approval letter comes with a stipulation or a length of time, and the backup in shipping company, they're now seeking for the renewal of this letter. And so ain't everybody seeking for a new approval, but they're seeking for renewal of the letter. And so that has been the fare. And so now you have customers or you have business owners who've bought with the understanding that all you do is apply and you will get approved. And now we've learned from an email sent from Marlon Johnson that there'll be no further approval.
He says that Grand Bahama continues to go through its challenges and setbacks. He's calling for those in authority to show compassion for persons in the related business sector.
And let the record reflect, we pay 85% duty, more duty required on any regular car for when you buy a car outside of the required year. And so government is making more money. We're still paying the same environmental processing levy charges. And so we're almost paying 120%, 110% on that type of car when we purchase it.
Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now, ZNS News contacted the Minister of Finance, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, for a response to these concerns. Minister Turnquest said the environmental law was put in place to protect the environment and to discourage the proliferation of discarded vehicles on the island. He said applications should be made prior to purchasing any vehicle over 10 years. However, he noted that some persons have been purchasing such vehicles and then applying to put the onus on the government to deny it. He added that the auction agents should familiarize themselves with the law, act accordingly, and not expect the government to be complicit in frustrating the intent of this environmental protection.
Hello, my name is Dr. Keith Albury, Senior Pastor of the Linden Seventh-day Adventist Church. I want to talk to you today about my pencil. Now, there's nothing extraordinary about this pencil except that it's my pencil. I'm sure you have one laying around the house somewhere. But did you know that some of the world's most famous art pieces were in fact first sketched with a pencil? Did you know that the most valuable tool in Thomas Edison's workshop was a pencil? Did you know that Albert Einstein used a pencil to calculate his theories on relativity? The point I seek to make is that each pencil has the same parts for writing. The only part or important factors that distinguish one from the other is who uses it and what it's used for. It's like everyone who woke up this morning. We've all been given breath and life, but how we use it will determine a great deal. And then, of course, life has its own set of challenges for everyone. But you know what? The difference in our overcoming is really based on whose hands we're in. But equally revealing is that this pencil cannot perform as it was intended without what's on the inside. There is a thread of lead that makes the length of this pencil, and without it, I cannot write. In essence, I cannot achieve what it was meant to do. Well, friends, without the presence of Jesus in our lives, we're limited just the same. To those who look on, everything on the outside will appear normal, but we will not function as we should. We will be shortchanged from the purpose for which we were created. It was Jesus who reminded his disciples in John 15 and verse 5, "Without me, you can do nothing." But the word also says, "He who has the Son has life." Always make certain that Jesus is at the core of your life, because even if adversity breaks you, it will not hinder his purpose for you. God bless you.
When we come back, local gyms reopening and safety is the order of the day. Stay with us. That story straight ahead.